You know that sinking feeling when your car breaks down and you realize you don't have enough in your savings account to cover the repair. So you put it on a credit card at 22% interest. Or worse, you take out a payday loan just to get to work next week. Meanwhile, your colleague who earns roughly the same salary writes a check from their emergency fund and moves on with their life. Same problem, wildly different cost. This isn't about being irresponsible with money. This is about a mathematical trap that punishes you for not having money in the first place. It is the brutal reality that being broke is expensive. And I am going to show you exactly how the system is designed to make you pay double for everything. I've spent years obsessing over personal finance patterns, and one concept keeps showing up in different disguises across every aspect of money management. I call it the poverty premium, and understanding it changed how I see every financial decision. The poverty premium is the extra cost you pay for goods and services simply because you can't afford to pay up front or in bulk. It is not a formal economic term you'll find in textbooks, but it is a real mathematical phenomenon that quietly drains wealth from those who can least afford it. The core idea is simple but devastating. When you are living paycheck to paycheck, you are forced into financial decisions that cost significantly more over time compared to someone with cash reserves. This premium shows up everywhere, from banking fees to housing costs to the price per unit of toilet paper. The value here isn't to just understanding why you feel financially stuck. It is recognizing the specific traps so you can strategically avoid them and stop paying double. Let me show you how this plays out in real life. Take something as basic as a checking account. If you've got money, most banks will waive monthly maintenance fees, typically when you maintain a minimum balance of around $1,500. But if you are living paycheck to paycheck and your balance dips below that threshold, you are paying $12 a month in fees. That is $144 a year just for the privilege of being broke. Now add overdraft fees. One study found that Americans pay about $15 billion annually in overdraft fees, with the average fee sitting at $35 per transaction. If you overdraft twice a month because your budget is tight and timing is off, that is another $840 a year. Someone with a comfortable buffer pays zero. Same banking services, wildly different cost. Let us look at buying a car. Person A has good credit and 20% to put down. They get a 60-month auto loan at 45% interest on a $25,000 car. Their monthly payment is about $400, and over the life of the loan, they pay roughly $3,000 in interest. Person B has poor credit because they've struggled financially and they can only put down 10%. They get the same loan term but at 14% interest. Their monthly payment jumps to about $580. About $580, and they pay over $9,000 in interest. That is $6,000 more for the exact same car, simply because they didn't have enough cash up front and their credit score reflected past financial struggles. The poverty premium in action. Housing might be the most painful example. Renting versus buying isn't just about lifestyle preference. It is about access to capital. Let's say you are paying $1,500 a month in rent for a 2-bedroom apartment over 10 years. That is $180,000 paid to a landlord with zero equity to show for it. Meanwhile, someone who could scrape together a down payment and qualify for a mortgage might pay $1,400 a month for a similar home. Not only are they paying less monthly, but after 10 years, they've built up roughly $80,000 in home equity. Assuming modest appreciation, the renter paid more and got nothing. The homeowner paid less and built wealth. This isn't about being smarter. It is about having access to capital at the starting gate. Even everyday purchases follow this pattern. Buying in bulk saves money, but only if you can afford the upfront cost. A 12-pack of paper towels at a warehouse store costs $18, coming out to $1.50 per roll. But if you are broke and can only afford to buy what you need this week, you grab a single roll at the corner store for $3. You just paid double per unit because you could afford to buy in bulk. Multiply this across groceries, toiletries, and household items, and you are hemorrhaging money on the poverty premium every single week. Now I know what you are thinking. This sounds depressing, and you are wondering if I am just describing reality without offering a way out. Or maybe you are thinking that you don't have enough money to implement any strategies to escape these traps, that this advice only works for people who already have cushion. I get it, and I want to address this head on because it is the most common mental block that keeps people stuck. First, recognizing the poverty premium isn't about blame or shame. It is about awareness. You can avoid a trap you don't know exists. Once you see these patterns, you can make strategic choices even with limited resources. You might not be able to avoid every premium right away, but you can prioritize which ones to tackle first based on where you are bleeding the most money. Second, escaping these traps doesn't require a massive windfall. It requires small, deliberate shifts that compound over time. The goal isn't perfection. It is progress. Even shaving off 1 or 2 of these premiums can free up cash that you redirect toward building a buffer, which then helps you avoid more premiums. It is a reverse snowball effect. And yes, the system is designed this way. Banks profit more from customers with low balances. Lenders charge higher interest to riskier borrowers, which makes sense from their perspective but creates a vicious cycle for people trying to climb out. Retailers price items knowing that people with less money will pay more per unit. But understanding the game means you can start playing it differently, even from a disadvantaged position. So what do you actually do about this? Let me give you concrete steps that don't require a huge income or a financial miracle. Start by auditing where you are currently paying the poverty premium. Spend 1 hour this week going through your bank statements from the past 3 months. Highlight every fee you paid. Overdraft charges, monthly maintenance fees, ATM fees, late payment fees on bills, interest on credit cards, or payday loans, add them up. This number is your poverty premium baseline. Seeing it in black and white is often shocking, but it is also motivating because now you have a specific target to attack. Next, open a no-fee checking account if you don't already have one. Online banks and credit unions often offer accounts with no minimum balance requirements and no monthly fees. This one change can save you over $100 a year immediately. Set up direct deposit if possible, and link it to free budgeting apps that alert you before you overdraft. These tools aren't just for finance nerds. They are practical shields against expensive mistakes. Build a tiny buffer, even if it feels impossibly small. I am not talking about a 6-month emergency fund right now. I am talking about $250. That is enough to cover one unexpected expense without triggering an overdraft or reaching for a credit card. How do you get there? Start with $25 a paycheck. If you get paid twice a month, that is $50 a month. And you hit $250 in 5 months. Automate the transfer the day you get paid so you never see the money. This buffer won't solve everything, but it breaks the cycle of one small problem creating a financial disaster. Focus on the highest cost poverty premiums first. If you are paying overdraft fees regularly, that is your priority. If you are carrying credit card debt at 22% interest, that is the fire you need to put out before worrying about buying in bulk. List your premiums by annual cost and attack the biggest one. Sometimes this means making uncomfortable calls to negotiate payment plans, switch service providers, or ask for fee waivers. Banks will often refund overdraft fees if you call and ask, especially if it is your first time or you've been a customer for a while. You'd be surprised how much money you can recover just by asking. Look for opportunities to flip the script on bulk buying without needing a ton of cash up front. Team up with a friend or family member to split a warehouse store membership and buy bulk items together, splitting the cost. You each pay half up front but get the per unit savings, or focus on non-perishables that you use and buy one bulk item per month when you have a little extra cash. Even one bulk purchase a month starts chipping away at the premium. If you are renting and feeling trapped, start researching first-time homebuyer programs in your area. Many states and cities offer down payment assistance, sometimes covering 3 to 5% of the purchase price, which can make homeownership accessible sooner than you think. I am not saying rush into buying a house, but educating yourself on what is actually required versus what you assume is required can open doors you thought were closed. Some programs accept credit scores as low as 580, and down payments as low as 3.5%. It is not easy, but it is not impossible either. Finally, shift your mindset from surviving to strategizing. When you are broke, every decision feels reactive. The car breaks, you scramble, the bill is due, you panic. But even small amounts of planning can reduce the poverty premium. Before you make a purchase, ask yourself, am I paying extra because I don't have cash right now? Is there a way to delay this by 2 weeks so I can pay in full instead of in installments? Can I buy this used or borrow it instead of financing it? These questions take 10 seconds but can save you hundreds. Here is the truth that nobody talks about enough. The financial system profits from your lack of resources, and it is built to keep you paying more when you have less. But you are not powerless. Every dollar you stop paying in fees, interest, and premiums is a dollar you can redirect toward building the buffer that frees you from the trap. It is not about earning more money first. Although that helps, it is about stopping the bleeding so that the money you do earn actually stays with you. This isn't going to change overnight. You are not going to read this and suddenly have thousands in savings next month. But if you start auditing your poverty premium today, switch to a no-fee account this week, and automate $25 into a buffer account next payday, you'll be on a different trajectory than you were yesterday in 6 months. You'll look back and realize you are not paying double anymore for at least a few things in a year. That buffer will have saved you from multiple financial emergencies. In 2 years, you might be the person writing the check for the car repair, instead of the one spiraling into debt over it. The math of being broke is brutal, but the math of escaping it is surprisingly simple once you see the traps. You just have to decide you are done paying the poverty premium and start taking it back. One fee at a time. If this resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you are ready to stop letting the system charge you for being human, and start taking it back, start with that audit today. You've got this.